I'm Gabe Lullo, and welcome to the Do Hard Things podcast. We're talking to go-to-market leaders and entrepreneurs who have conquered the challenges, the hustle, and the grind. Get ready for real talk, real insights, and no fluff.
But the hardest thing in the world right now is not actually closing deals, it's actually getting somebody's attention.
If you don't have that hook in that first 5 to 10 seconds, guess what? They're going to scroll to the next one.
You need to go in and you need to make it sound like yourself. That's the biggest piece of the puzzle. And I promise you, we can all tell.
The people that are trolls and the people that are haters never done the thing that you're doing.
I love doing this podcast because I get a front row seat to some of the greatest minds in sales.
Gone are the days of saying stay in your lane. When you're an executive leader and you're an enterprise-wide leader, there are no lanes. You've got to be partners.
Curiosity is like when the type of questions you ask is sometimes the value that you bring.
I need you to tell me when you're ready to buy or what you're ready to do. And I think it's changed so much into like adding more value. And if you're not doing that, then you're definitely going to come off as desperate.
High pressure selling is like a dinosaur tactic at this point.
No parent is like, oh, you should be a salesperson when you grow up, right? Everyone's like a doctor, lawyer, whatever crap. It's never salespeople.
It's not your job to motivate people. It's your job to find motivated people.
It's not cockiness. It's not arrogance. It's confidence knowing I know this and I know that I can help you.
From where I started to where I am today is all because I learned how to sell.
And there's too many people who have only been doing this for 5 freaking minutes. Sit down, close your mouth, actually go out there and get yourself beat up. Then come back and tell me if something is dead or not.
That is exactly why I started this podcast, because right there, that's the epitome of doing hard things.
Welcome back to the Do Hard Things podcast with Lexi and Gabe. Melissa Gaglione is a B2B personal branding and sales coach helping founders, sellers, and marketers go from invisible to in demand. With over 35,000 people in her network and over $15 million in revenue driven, she teaches companies how to trade outdated tactics for authentic influence. Melissa blends the clarity of a TV reporter, the structure of a teacher, and the results-focused approach of a SaaS sales leader. Her approach drives more responses, more engagement, and more meetings by building real relationships, not relying on pushy tactics. Melissa, welcome to the show.
We are so excited to have you here, Melissa. Welcome to the show, Do Hard Things with Gabe and Lexi. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we just heard your bio. So impressed. Listen, when you go from journalism, right, and a journalist to SDR to head of sales to your own business and doing it as so quickly as you have, you must be a very, very motivated person. We're all big fans of your following and what you post on LinkedIn. We're huge fans of yours, but I need to like kind of peel back the onion here, right? Let's go back to your origin story. What got you on this track and what has gotten you so successful and motivated between when you started where you are today?
Yeah. Well, where do you want to start? Do we want to start at teaching? Do we want to start at news reporting or the beginning of?
I want to start teaching. My mom's a teacher. She always wanted me to be a teacher. And then I realized, look, Ma, I am a teacher. I just teach people, adults, how to sell instead of kids how to do math. So I'd love to hear that because, I say teachers really are great candidates for sales or SDRs when we're recruiting. So I'd love to hear how that happened because a lot of people are getting into sales or are SDRs, and we'd love to hear that story.
Yeah. I mean, for the record, I was supposed to be a teacher on Long Island for 40 years. That was what I was told. That's what was expected of me because I love kids. I love to teach, all of those things. And that was it. Like, that was the career. I wasn't allowed to go to school for anything else. My strict Italian father was like, you're going to be a teacher on Long Island, and it's a good job. And I was like, okay. So that's what I thought I was supposed to be doing, but that's because that's what I was told to do. So yes, after I went to college and I also got my master's in curriculum and instruction, I was teaching full time in Title I schools here in Tampa, Florida. So if you know what Title I schools means, it is a 99% reduced / free lunch. So high poverty students. The kids I loved. That was the best part. The actual confinement to a room and not being able to kind of like, I guess it was like grow beyond that bothered me because he was
Sure.
like, okay, I'm going to do the same thing every day for the next 40 years. And after about a year, I was like, I can't do this for 40 years. Like, this is it.
Right.
So after that, I said, you know what? I always really wanted to be a news reporter, but my dad said I couldn't. I had to be a teacher. So my second year of teaching full time, I went back to school after getting all my degrees for journalism. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be a news reporter. So I studied that year. I had one summer to break into a news studio, and I literally faked it because I had nothing planned. I went around Tampa, Florida. I had like 8 shirts in my car. I went in front of like different scenes and I was just telling what the story was. And I chopped it up, made a reel, sent it out to as many news directors as possible, cold called them, sent them emails, just tried to get my name in front of them, eventually landing a job in Texas where I was a reporter making an amazing $24,000 a year. So after that, I realized, you know what? I don't want to make $24,000 a year. This is actually less money than teaching. Decided to come back to Tampa, had no plan, applied for an event producer role, and they said, you're going to go in sales. So, as scared as I was, I went into sales, and for the first time in my life, I realized that the more smarter and harder and more strategic I worked, not necessarily the most amount of time, but the more money I would make. And I really liked that. So I was hooked.
That's amazing. What a story. I love that. Thank you so much for taking me through it.
Yeah, that's
And Lexi
awesome.
has some great questions for you.
I would love to know, how do you think those different roles shaped the way that you teach people now how to build trust and attention in the B2B world?
Yeah. It's so wild because and going through this journey, my parents were, like, so scared. They were mortified. They were like, "You have no money, like, how are you gonna do this?" And I'm like, "It's all gonna work out." So now that I'm through all of that, I'm like, "Don't you see? It all added up to this. This is exactly what I'm doing." So yes, teaching, even in just sales, like, you are teaching all the time. You're teaching your prospect about your product. So, teaching in general, just being able to work with other teams, other founders, working with them collaboratively, teaching asynchronously as well, because we can't always be live on a call. So, yes, teaching is probably my greatest skill. And then the media aspect of it is being able to take a story or concept and drill it down into something that's really easy and tangible at scale so people can really understand it. And plus, learning how to edit, learning how to tell a story, that was all really fun and things that I'm doing today on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So you often say, and I've seen you say this, attention is the new currency,
Yeah.
right? So when did that belief really first click for you? And how did that change the way you sold or even led teams?
I think we're seeing it in B2C. And I think that B2B is always a little bit behind, and we all know that, B2B is always, we think that we're so different. B2B thinks
Right.
we're so unique, that we have such complicated funnels and websites and all this stuff. It's literally the same thing. The way that we buy is the same. Of course, maybe we have procurement and a little bit more process, but I mean, technically, if I were to buy a car today, I have a CFO at home that I need budget approval for. Like, I have that conversation as well, but we are fighting for attention because, especially when everything literally sounds the same, you go onto these websites and it's like AI powered SaaS B2B, like it's literally the same, that we need to find a way to get attention so we can teach and educate at scale because people buy what they feel really comfortable and confident in. They don't buy things that they know nothing about. So the more they know and the more content and information that they ingest, especially on their own time, and you meeting them in their platforms, the more they're slowly being sold into it. Like, there's a reason why I bought my little Volkswagen, Taos or Taos, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but it's because it was over time marketed to me. So when I went in, I knew exactly that that was the car that I wanted. I didn't even test drive it. I bought it. Like, that was it.
Yeah, so I want to double down on that because my marketing professor taught me this phrase, and I say it all the time too. It's like, it's not what you know, and it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Mhm.
And I said, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You know who Michael Jordan is?" I'm like, "Of course." He's like, "Does he know you?" I'm like, "Nope." So like, how does that help, right? So when it comes to attention and doubling down on this, and I love what you're saying about everyone's kind of sounding the same. How do you balance, being too B2C or too like I don't want to say it the wrong way, like TikToky or Instagrammy, right? Versus attracting B2B, because I struggle with this all the time. I posted on LinkedIn a picture of my family when my daughter's first day at school. And literally someone posted on there and said, "How does this relate to anything to do with sales?" And I'm like, wow, okay. We have a troll on LinkedIn. There's not many, but they are there. Where is that balancing at? Because I think you do it so well. Like we see you in your house, we see you doing things, we see you pictures with your spouse, but we also see how do you do this? And it's super tactical. And what can I actually apply to my job today? And it's really a really great balance. So how do you do that?
It is strategic. I am strategically balancing and
Yeah.
making sure that when I whatever it is that I post, am I one, making sure that I'm either adding value or I'm invoking an emotion from people. So I need to choose what it is, as well as what types of mediums have I posted this week? Did I do only one video? Let me see if I can add another video. I try to also balance that all out. So it is I can't say that I'm the most strategically planned, even though I do provide templates if people do want to literally be like, on Wednesday, I'm posting this video, and on Thursday, it's this. I'm a little bit more free where even if you were to like almost spin a wheel and be like, I'm going to do this topic and it's going to be in this format and I'm going to do it on Wednesday. It can be that, I guess random, but overall you are searching for balance. So if you do that, then make sure that the next it's off the wheel. Like you can't pick it for that week in a way. So it is a sense of balance, but I also think that we know LinkedIn has changed so much. And the people that are like, get your family off of LinkedIn, like, one, it's always kind of funny to me when people make rude comments on LinkedIn because I compare them to people at gas stations. Like, would I be upset if someone at a gas station was like, "Stop showing photos of your family?" Like, no, that's a crazy like, why would I care what you have to say if someone at the gas station is like, "I love your family," and we're talking about it, and now we have a connection. Like, why would I care about what that person has to say? So I always compare the negative comments to people at gas stations because who cares? And then second, where LinkedIn is going, it's a social platform. It's not a resume anymore. It's a social platform. We're supposed to network. And if you're telling me that you go to a conference and you don't tell people that you have a family or like a dog and that's not networking, like we're doing that at conferences. Why wouldn't we share that on LinkedIn? It is a balance, though, of letting people into your world while also being yourself and sharing value because at the end of the day, LinkedIn is still a learning platform. It's more of like a learning, networking, social platform.
Love it.
Yeah, I love that and totally agree. And you definitely open up a wide variety of what people will say, but it's worth it for us. And we always believe in calls and content. And I think a lot of companies do believe in that, but then we still see the ones that are paid ads, paid media, just doing email outreach. What do you think the hidden cost of not building a strong social presence is today?
Ooh, so I mean, look, if you look at products and look at how it's evolving, and I'm in B2B tech mostly, like I've been selling products. But we have Lovable and we have Cursor and we have Bolt and like even I'm playing around with them. And even I'm building out a SaaS tool, which is literally so concerning because I failed math. So how am I able to essentially code this mini engine that I'm building out? Like I'm literally doing that. So the way that we are doing things and the way that we are building things, one, it's going so quickly. I think this summer we're going to see, at least for the newer companies, we're going to see really crazy product growth, and we're also going to see companies literally touching everything and they're all going to sound even more the same before they actually drill down into what they're good at. So I think everyone's going to really sound the same. Everyone has access to building these tools because all they're doing is essentially prompting and taking those prompts to build out these tools. There's not that big level of like, oh, you need to spend this much money to get these types of engineers. So, what differentiates people is going to be brand. It literally is going to come down to brand because at this point, anyone can build it. So, but not anyone can build a brand. So, in my opinion, you will be losing a lot of money if you are not focused on building the brand that's going to get the attention so you can actually sell the product that you're building. Because people aren't investing or at least not focusing heavily enough on that brand. And you don't need to have the best product to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And, our company has a branding page on LinkedIn, and, we're, I think, at the 7,000 mark. Lexi joined our company a year ago, and she went from 200 followers to 12,000 followers in 12 months.
Yes.
And so it took her 1 year to double what our company's branding page did in 10.
Yeah.
So you're helping teams go from really invisible, right, to in demand by using employee generated content and employee storytelling. So how does that really look in practice? How do you get companies on that path?
So it's actually a little tricky because you'd be surprised how many people are like, "Ugh, I don't want to post. Like, I have nothing to say. It's not important. Like, I'd rather just not." Like, there's so many limiting beliefs. There's also a lot of people in B2B that, I really wish I could say I was so good at Instagram. I haven't posted on my personal Instagram in, I posted for my husband's birthday this year and my husband's birthday last year. Like, that was it. And a lot of us we're not big on socials. So then being told and encouraged to post on LinkedIn, which is a social, is very scary for a lot of people. So whenever I work with companies, it's like we can't force it. We can't tell them this is what you're going to post, this is what you're going to say. We can't do it. So really what I look for is if we can get 3, 4, 5, depending on your sales team. 10 would be great. But if we can get a handful of them to actually take the risk, it's not really a risk, it's actually just a gain, but to take the risk to build up their brands, then everyone around them starts going, how'd they get that opportunity? Or, oh, that one just went on a podcast. Or, wait, that one just got like 100 likes and an inbound lead. And so let them spearhead it so that way everyone else now has a vision of what it could be for them and a little bit more of a roadmap. Because if you make everybody do it at once, it's going to be a little bit confused. It's going to be like a little awkward. But if we just focus on a small group, build them out first, make them into like the group, the pod that everyone's focused on, then everyone else is going to catch on and they're going to opt into rather than being forced into it.
Yeah, I love that. And do you think that it's a certain position that should be a brand ambassador, or do you think there's room for everybody who wants to do it to come out and do it, whether they're not just the top rep or the founder or the VP of sales, like they're in totally different roles? Do you think there's a place for every role or
Yeah.
just those sales
Sure.
roles?
Why not? Like, why not? I think that if I were a CSM, I would most definitely be posting about one, my client's success. Like that's great. Maybe they even add like reviews onto my LinkedIn because we have worked so well together. Why wouldn't I post and share about my customer wins? That's something I want to highlight. Why wouldn't I show and share, here's how I'm trying to get better, or even share a little bit about my life as well? People are going to want to work with you too. I don't think it's limited to just one type of department. I think that anyone who is willing to or wants to can opt in. And so let's have them opt in and let's see who they are because it's not just salespeople on LinkedIn
Right.
at all. So let's give them the opportunity to really shine.
Okay, so we encourage them. We find some influencers or some ambassadors within the company.
Mhm.
We encourage them to get them on a track. what are some pitfalls, right? What are some mistakes that these teams who are now trying to get active on LinkedIn, and how do you help course correct them?
So, LinkedIn is your employee's personal profile. And you just got to trust that. You just have to accept that it is theirs, it is their choice. It is not for you to dictate what they post. All you can do is set the best expectations with reason. Like, hey guys, we are not going to promote our like competitors. If that's something that I actually have no problem with that, to be honest, because I think that it's good to even name your competitors so people know what space you're in, to be honest. But whatever the rules are that you hope that they follow, like no cursing, things like that, very standard rules, but relaying it back to at the end of the day, LinkedIn is a professional network, so you do want to be professional. I think that a lot of companies will go, okay, we need to approve every single post. It's like, okay, well, now that's not fun. Now they're waiting for you. Now you're changing it. Oh, everyone needs to post this graphic. And there's like no creative freedom. And they're just like, okay, I'll post it. And the only people that like it are on the team. Um, and I see a lot of like, I guess more challenges where when they almost like force too much and immediate resistance. Especially when it's a little bit coming from internal. They're like, "We're gonna do this," and, like, "We're all for the company," and, like, all of a sudden, it's like, "We're a family, so everyone needs to post," and it kinda creates this weird vibe of and this weird resistance of people not really wanting to do it, and then it can be kind of uncomfortable, actually. Like, it's actually a very delicate thing, which is why when people like me come in, it's more about inspiring and evoking change and finding the change makers and then letting them have the freedom to do it and to show the path so then people opt in.
Yeah. I'd love to know your thoughts here because we have a lot of people on our team who see our posts and they want to post, but they're stuck and they're having trouble finding their voice or not wanting to sound fake. So what advice do you give somebody who is really dedicated and wants to do it but just doesn't know how to get it started?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will be like, "Just post." Like, yeah, you could just post, but I get really deep with people. Like, I have a process where we learn who you are, because I think that a lot of times when people do just post and they just throw it out there or whatever, they very often are just copying and maybe in their own words, but just copying what other people are doing or what have said. And I really want people to dig deep into like who they really are. So in the beginning, when I work with teams, we are just focused on engagement while you're kind of doing some soul searching. Like we are doing some journal prompts, like you're digging into like what were some of the challenges that you had in your early career? What was a mentor that really changed your life? Was there anything like in your world where like everything just rocked one day? Like we're getting really deep and we're writing and we're thinking about who we are to then identify who are our content pillars. Because for me, I'm very creative, I'm very inspirational is kinda like the way I like to go. I like being tactical and educational as well. Sometimes I'm funny, but not so much, but that's if I come out here and I only post memes for the next 24 days, it's like, "Who's Melissa?" Like, that's not really me. Like, I'm very, "Alright, here's 3 ways to get this done," and I'm very teacher-like, because that's me. So I really want to pull that out of people. So in the beginning, I encourage you to literally do soul searching, and to ask yourself the tough questions, to write it out, to journal, and then identify what are some of the common themes here. Wow, I'm really resourceful. Or wow, like I've been through some stuff, but like I most certainly am really good at this mindset or deals that you've experienced, anything like that. You're just gonna have to go through that to figure it out.
I mean, the word I'm thinking about when you're saying all these things, personal and soul searching, is really about, being authentic, right? And actually we're hearing that a lot more and more these days, especially with the eve of AI. I think people, it's like this battle is like, okay, AI is AI, it's great, but also are you losing the authenticity of everything?
Yeah.
And so what's your view on it, and how to, again, going back to this balancing question, how do you balance this amazing technology we have our hands on in the form of AI, and then still being personal, human, and like I said, authentic in B2B.
Yeah. For the record, I use Claude. It's my favorite one. All the time. I'm always using AI. Like, why wouldn't I? Um, and so for me, what's really important is I never want to it's it's a work. Like, I have to work with my tool. One, I know my experiences and I know the feelings. And if I do want to write a post, I'll put my voice recorder on and I will like into Claude and I will just dump what I'm feeling, how I want to say it, what are the key points that I want to make. And I just kind of want to see a little bit of a draft of like how it basically organizes my feelings or what it is that I'm trying to say. And then from there, I'll take it and I'll adjust it. What is really my brand voice? Like how would I rewrite this essentially and kind of going into it. But very often I use it as a quick brain dump of like this is the feeling I want to get through. This is the emotion that I want people to have because this is the story. This is the impact. This is the results from it and here's what I want people to take from it. And just kind of dumping that through to then get a rough blueprint that from there I say, okay, this is pretty much more organized. Now I'm gonna make it Melissa, and I'm gonna put it in my voice, and I'm going to because I would never say that, but I would say this, and I always use emojis, so I'm gonna add this, and I love to space it out in this format, and you just make it yours. But I do find that ever since I started using Claude, it has most definitely helped me take all the things in my mind and actually be able to put it in a post that isn't, too long, and it actually hits the point properly.
Yeah, that's awesome. So my question here is, if you go to a new company or someone that you're working with and they bring you on and you're starting to talk to the team and someone's like, "Our buyers aren't on LinkedIn." How do you shift that mindset?
Yeah, it's so interesting because one, I mean, are they? Let me look. Like, really, let me see if they are. And you'd be surprised. There's a company that I was working with that sells to roofers, others that sells to HVAC, companies. And I did a bit of research and I was like, "Does this look like your ICP?" And I was like, "What about this guy? And what about this one?" And they're there. They might not be as active. And yes, I think that we can very much be honest and say that not everybody's going to be on LinkedIn and certain industries might stand out than others. But people are still trying to do business. And at the end of the day, if I were to go on like Instagram, and I actually did this to my therapist because I was like, "Girl, you need to get on LinkedIn." Because she wanted to get more clients in Miami. So I was like, "How are you finding them?" And she's like, "I don't know, like just talking to people." I'm like, "Well, if you were to go on Instagram, literally, how would you find people in Miami? You would literally have to search Miami and you don't know who's there. But LinkedIn, I can go and I know that also the majority of people, over half of the users on LinkedIn are making over $85,000. So one, LinkedIn got money so they can afford therapy. But two, I can even drill down to not just their location, but maybe I want to look at Director Plus because I want to start charging them 200 a session instead of 100 a session. You can't do that anywhere else. You can't find that anywhere else. So I think that it's okay if you don't have like 3 million people in your ICP on LinkedIn. I think it actually might just be even easier if you have less to go after and then you're less and you're just more creating content to bring them in because now you can just own that market on LinkedIn because who else is going to do it? So you might as well do it.
Yeah, for sure. So, quick plug here. You generate over 15 million in sales. Shout out to you. Awesome. But now you're teaching people to focus less on selling and more on influence. So why does that shift work better?
Yeah, I think that look, I love to sell. I love one-to-one selling. I really, really, really do. I love getting deep into a sales cycle. I love meeting all the different people that need to make a change. I absolutely do. However, I have seen way too many companies have amazing sellers, but they can't get anyone to meet with them. And we're seeing this huge struggle where people are having difficulty getting people in. and really being able to differentiate. So if we're going to do the majority of our buying cycle and our buyers are doing all of this research before they meet with you, we need to meet them there. So that way, when they do meet with the enterprise seller that you're pretty much spending 300K on minimum, let's make sure that they are really like ready for that type of sales cycle and they're already more influenced into buying that type of product. So let's do the work in the beginning to make it a lot more easier for our team so they have higher quality meetings. They're not spending their time on like less or weaker deals, and they're actually able to close more with like less of a team, actually, is kind of where I'm going with it in a way. I think we need to spend a lot more time on just getting them in the door and getting them ready and in the mindset to buy rather than having to immediately fight against status quo. And then now we have a year-long sales cycle when we could have been influencing them this whole time.
Mhm.
So, thinking about the future, what do you think will separate the next generation of high performing B2B teams versus those who get stuck in the past?
So many things there. It's a really broad question. I think product wise, I think right now everyone's doing everything. And like I said, I think this summer it's going to get really messy and people are going to and buyers are going to be really confused. Like they're about to be very confused because they're going to go, "Well, that's kind of what this company does, but they do it this way and you're doing it this way like, but you also do this and you could replace this tool and that tool." Like buyers are going to get really confused over the next couple of months. I don't know how long that's going to last because I think that we're going to have to bring it back to like true outcomes, true problems that we solve for, really simplify the messaging instead of AI powered agentic, whatever it may be. Um, so I think that one, they're going to be very confused. So the companies that make it as simple and easy as possible will win. Like literally, I don't want to say dumb it down, but like actually dumb it down. Like we are human, we don't need to be so complicated. We just need to know and we need to easily understand something. And so, one, the companies need to get on board with making things simpler and more clear and maybe having more of a focus rather than focusing on everything. And then, in order for that to stand out, we need more voices to be sharing it. Because if it's just your company page, nobody's going to know. Like, literally, no one's going to know. Um, how else do you get people to know about your company? You just spend what? 200,000 on LinkedIn ads for half, probably less than half the amount of impressions if you just had 50 employees posting twice a week, like it's kind of crazy the amount of money that people will be spending when there's a much straightforward and cost effective and actually more fun way to go about it. I don't know if that answered your question. I kind of
You answered it perfectly. I wish everyone in the back of the room could hear what you just said.
Oh.
Uh, that was awesome. Thank you for that. So let's talk about, I mean, 'cause to the point, you don't sugarcoat things, right? On LinkedIn, when it comes to your posts and your strategies, right? You don't sugarcoat it. And you say all the time, most LinkedIn strategies are broken to your point. So what's another hard truth really that B2B leaders need to hear right now when it comes to this?
Let's see. Aside from it's your employee's personal profile, so respect it in a way. Aside from that, I also think that, and not everyone, I also think people need to hear to stop automating so much stuff. We know that the
Yeah.
comments are killing us. I think that that is like the most painful thing of it. The other hard truth is we really have to stop spamming people.
Yep.
It's getting really bad. We have to be at least more targeted, but I do think that the power of the network is going to be really critical because people do buy from people. And I also really, if you look at like real estate, like think of like, I have a couple friends in real estate. I know who I'm calling if I'm ever in Palm Beach. Like, I know exactly those people. I feel that in a way, not exactly, But sellers are going to kind of follow a little bit of that real estate swag that they have, in a sense of they're marketing themselves. So I think sellers are going to start to market themselves as the trusted salesperson, the expert, the industry leader, because I want to work with someone that's going to make me feel really confident in my decision, because I've been burned before. So I want to make sure that this is someone that's going to answer all my questions and really be helpful for it. So I think we need to allow, and a hard truth is really to allow our salespeople, our marketers, our employees to actually share their expertise and shine by themselves a little bit. It's not just about your company. We're trying to get people in through the person, not through, like, if we're looking at a real estate agent where I'm looking at Megan, I'm not looking at Remax. Like, I'm going because of Megan. She just so happened to work at Remax. Does that make sense in the way that
100%.
it's an affiliation? It's not about the company. It's because they're affiliated with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And I love all the advice that you've given today. Melissa, thank you so much for your time. Who is the best person that should reach out to you? And if they want more information, where should they go?
Oh, LinkedIn, of course. Just let me know on LinkedIn. I love working with sellers, people who are trying to build up their brand. I do also help with the sales process because I can't help it, because I do love it. It's one of my favorite parts. But typically sales leaders, marketing leaders, founders that are just trying to get more exposure on LinkedIn in a very cost-effective way and build their brand. So yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa, for joining us on the show. We really appreciate you. All our guests, reach out to Melissa. You're the best. Thank you.